Oh, I'm tired. I'm pregnant. Okay? It's the same day. We got this. This is good. Oh, I like that. Do you know what I've seen some conversations about? We need to clean the top of that off. But I've seen these really fascinating conversations about how people are learning or learn to do witchcraft. I ain't got no problem with how you learn how to do witchcraft, girl. You do whatever the hell you want to do. But I have some tips to make the learning process a little easier. So, first of all, there's nothing wrong with buying thousands and thousands of books and reading everything, but don't get burnt out, okay? Don't get burnt out on the thing that you're trying to learn. So, for example, I had this friend long time ago. She was really interested in witchcraft, and she bought a couple of books. And I remember one time I went over to her house, and can I use this one? Is there like, I'll just put this. This will be easier to crush. There we go. Anyways. So I go over to her house, and she's got these books, these witchcraft books, and they're spread out like a law student, right? With the highlighters and the pens and the colored and the notes and all that. And that's fine. And she said that she's been doing that for like a couple of weeks. And I was like, okay, so we're absorbing the books and all of that fun stuff, which is exactly what you want to do in the early stages. But she ended up getting kind of bored of it. Like, felt like it was like too much information. There's too much stuff out there. There's different practices. There's different ways of doing things. What's the right way? How do I begin? What is the first thing that I do? And I said, I can't answer that for you because I don't know what it is that you're looking for. Witchcraft is kind of like modern day religion, okay? I mean, think about it. Why are we involved in witchcraft? What are you gaining out of being a witch? Is it a trendy thing for you? Is it, right? Like, are you some high schooler who wants to wear the pentagram and the black makeup and just be all edgy and whatnot? I mean, if that's true, then girl, you do whatever the hell you want. But I'm just like, what is drawing you to witchcraft? Lots of people get drawn in for different reasons, right? It could be the mystical element. I really like the Solomonic stuff and the more complicated rituals and working with entities that most people probably wouldn't want to work with because it's fun. Okay? And I get a sense of stability, power, control over the things that I normally wouldn't think that I could control, right? Like, it opens your eyeballs to a whole other world. So, she didn't really know what her adventures into the craft, like what the reason was. She just wanted to understand more about what it is that I do and other people like me do. And that's fair, that's fine. But she didn't understand, like, okay, well, where do I begin? And that's a fair question. You've read the books, you've watched the YouTube videos, maybe you have a couple candles, maybe you have a couple incense, maybe you have a couple oils. I don't know what you've got. Maybe you've got something, maybe you've got nothing. And you're still sitting there being like, where the hell do I begin? What do I do? What's the first thing that I do? How do I get into witchcraft? What do I do? Do I cast a spell? Do I do a ritual? Do I do protection magics? Do I burn my house down? I'm looking for a coal and I don't see any. Oh wait, do I have one in here? I'm sure I've got one in here. Right, and you're just sitting there being like, what the hell do I do? And I think that's where some people get frustrated. or they get bored, or they don't want to do it anymore, or they don't want anything to do. Like, they've bought this stuff, and it's like, okay, great, I've bought this oil from you, okay, what do I do with it? It's pretty, I mean, I'm looking at it, I can't eat it. You wouldn't want to eat it, there's bloodroot in here. I don't know if bloodroot is poisonous, but you get the point, right? Like, you're sitting there and you're like, what do I do with that? Most people who buy witchy things have an intention of knowing what to do with it, right? Most people who purchase oils, which most of them get from Etsy or wherever, right? Like, the oil is labeled, it tells you it's a love oil, whatever. But, like, how do you do a love spell? What is a love spell? How do you do a money spell? What is a money spell? You know what my advice would be? Set up an altar. You've got books on the craft, which clearly indicates that one of those books is going to tell you how to set up an altar. How to properly set up an altar. Well, okay, I don't want to say properly, but you get the idea, right? Like, your first time, your Gardner book or your Cunningham book or whatever, and they've got an idea in there of how to set up an altar. Do that. And sit at your altar. Don't just set it up and be like, okay, I'm done now. Like, what do I do now? Like, right, sit at your altar. Commune with the energy around you. Feel the energy around you. Light some incense and feel the energy around you. Right? Because witchcraft isn't just spells and incantations and potions and brews and this, that, and the other thing. It's more. It's who you are. And I think that's where people are getting lost, because they don't know who the hell they are. We don't know who we are. I don't know who the hell I am half the time. I could be a doppelganger. Okay, I could be Jesus. I'm not Jesus, but you get the idea, right? Sometimes people come to witchcraft looking for a sense of identity and purpose, right? That's kind of the same reason why most people are Christians or Jewish people or Catholics or Muslim, right? It's a sense of identity. This states, this is who I am. This religion, this practice, this magical practice, this thing that I'm doing, it's who I is. Right? Fill up my space. Fill up my space. Fill up my space. Okay, don't sing when you do your craft. Or at least don't let people hear you. Right? Anywho. I hope that this gives you something to think about. When you're sitting there and you've got your books, and you've got your YouTube videos, and you've got your blah blah blahs, and you're doing your research, right? Set up an altar. Set up a space that you can go to and just light some. It doesn't have to be like an actual altar, right? It just has to be a space that you can go to that is your own, that you've crafted, that you've put together, that you've put your own energies in. You surround yourself with your trinkets and your things that you've made in your journeys of learning how to be a witch, and you reflect and you spend some time in your head. Okay? You spend time in your head and you reflect. That's what a lot of witchcraft is reflecting. Yeah, we manipulate energies and make our fancy potions. Most of the time, we're just reflecting. And feeling the energy. Okay? You're like, we still don't know what you're doing. That's not my problem, that's yours. Until next time, tubies, I love all of your faces.